Hello, and thank you for watching this ag forecast for the Northeast. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. We've got a big cold front making its way through the region right now, extending all the way from eastern Canada through the Northeast, down to the Mid-Atlantic, and then curving back here towards part of the Southern Plains. Lots of cool, dry air making its way in on the backside here, even bringing some snow to parts of the Northern Plains and the Northern Great Lakes today. And we'll see our chance for some snow across parts of the northern Northeast, parts of Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont as we head into the back half of the weekend as another little disturbance kind of rides along this boundary up the East Coast. Here's the radar here on Friday morning. Again, some showers making their way across the region. Light rain falling anywhere from Pennsylvania into upstate New York. Those showers starting to spread across the rest of the Northeast here as we head through the morning. So by the end of the day, most folks seeing at least a few raindrops across the Northeast. Now here are your temperatures at 10:30 Central, so 11:30 Eastern here on Friday. Looking at 40s and 50s behind the front, 60s and even a couple of 70s just out ahead of that front. So much cooler air coming in on the backside. Now, as we talk about soil moisture percent of normal, we're looking at a big deficit here from parts of the western Northeast. So we're talking about New York and Pennsylvania. It's really weird to say the western Northeast, but look at this from Pennsylvania and New York all the way back into the Southern Plains. That includes much of the Central Plains into the Eastern Corn Belt, where it's been quite dry over the last 3 to 5 weeks. We've seen a lot of rainfall at times making its way through the Pacific Northwest on strong Pacific onshore flow. We have seen tropical systems make their way through the southeast, through the southern U.S. at times, bringing rainfall to that region. But by and large being missed here across the midsection of the country from the desert southwest all the way through the mid-Mississippi Valley, Eastern Corn Belt, and on into the Northeast. And while we will bring some rainfall into part of that very dry area, badly needs it, across the Great Lakes and the mid-Mississippi Valley, we are noticeably leaving out parts of western Pennsylvania into western New York. This seems like the area that's going to be missed by the precipitation as we head over the next 7 days or so. So here's the upper level pattern. We're looking at a big ridge over the Pacific, big trough here across central Canada, dipping down into the central U.S. Strong flow then racing off across the Northeast. That's what sets up the active storm track here over the next 3 to 4 days. We watch systems continue to be flung around the base of that trough, lifting into the Northeast. An area of high pressure here across the Southeast that's going to continue to feed this upper level support with Gulf moisture, and again keeping precipitation in the forecast across the coast as we head even deeper into the coming week. You can see that pattern illustrated well here. We continue to see dry air plunging in from the Canadian Prairie into the Northern Plains, but for the first time in what feels like probably a month, if not more, as we get into next week, we will finally open up the Gulf of moisture for business. Again, with strong flow coming around the base of that trough, that is what sets up the potential for an active pattern here across parts of the central U.S. into the Northeast. And again, as we look at the 10-day precipitation anomaly forecast, it's illustrated well. Flow coming up and over the top of your ridge into the Canadian Prairie and the Pacific Northwest. We then tap into some Gulf moisture with those storm systems digging into the central U.S. and then lifting off into the Northeast. And that's what sets up the potential active pattern across the midsection of the country, with storm systems also running up the East Coast here. So we look at our temperature forecast over the next 7 days. We'll keep things a bit warmer than average across the Northeast, though we will see pushes of cooler air making their way in at times. Much of the coldest air going to be held back here across the Canadian Prairie into the Northern Plains, though, with at times warm air being advected up the coast, with our jet stream doing something like this. As we look at the hazards map, once again, we're talking about cooler air making its way into the Northeast, freeze warnings, frost advisories across western Pennsylvania into western New York. Look at the rainfall forecast as we head through the weekend, or the precipitation forecast. Again, light showers continuing, especially across eastern half of the Northeast. We're talking about the New York border here, down to New Jersey, into Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. We'll see those showers continuing well into the day tomorrow. This would be sunrise on Saturday. This is when we could get enough cold air on the backside here to flip over to snow across in New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine as we get into Saturday morning. So likely looking at some of our first wintry scenes across this region as we get into the day on Saturday. We can take this a bit deeper with the European model. This will take us into next week. Again, rain across much of the Northeast through the day today into tonight. Snow across New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine as we get into the day on Saturday. We'll see a break in the precipitation, high pressure in the area on Sunday. Rain begins to move back in from the west on Sunday night into Monday. We'll see the chance for a rain along another stalled out frontal boundary across the region lingering from Monday into Tuesday, and then potentials for the potential for additional storm systems to sweep through the area as we get into the back half of next week. Of course, we really lose confidence with this highly amplified pattern here. It's very dynamic, very amplified. And so subtle changes here are going to make some big differences, be really amplified as we head deeper into the coming weeks. So we'll check back in with the specifics on this as we head into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week, but understanding that we are trending toward an active pattern across the region. And we have good agreement here as we look at the European Ensemble forecast, the GFS Ensemble forecast. Total precipitation over the next 7 days, looking at the potential for 2 to 3 inches of rainfall across New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, southward to Massachusetts, into New Jersey. Additional heavy rain expected across northern New York back into western Pennsylvania, but it does appear we could have a bit of a dry wedge here with some of the lighter precipitation values being found across southern portions of Pennsylvania. We're looking at the probability of picking up 3 inches or more of snowfall over the next 7 days. And again, we see that highest across the higher elevations here up toward the north, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine. Looking at the chance of picking up some accumulating snow as we head through the day tomorrow. Your high temperatures across the Northeast, then across the entire lower 48 today. 50s and 40s across Pennsylvania and New York will top out in the 60s as you head off toward the coast. Much cooler for everyone on Saturday, warmer on Sunday. Cooling off, though, again, as we head into Monday and Tuesday with a series of cool fronts potentially making their way in as we head into the end of next week.